In the barnyard, mother hen lays an egg, and she sits on that egg for whatever time frame, letting that embryo grow into a baby chick. And then one day she feels the vibration of that chick fighting its way out. And she steps aside and she waits. And her instincts want to go in and pick a hole to make it easy for that chick to come on out into this world. But she practices patience. She watches that little hole opening up from inside, the beak coming out, and she starts to see the egg cracking, and little by little, her chick emerges. She's a proud mother. Now, if she had gone in to help that baby chick to come out into the world, if she had gone and picked open to say, come on in, she would have doomed this chick to failure. She would have created a barrier. The gift of barriers are so important. When we fight for things that we want, when we work extremely hard for those things, we tend to value them so much more. I was a premature baby. I kind of was in a hurry to get out into this world. But I had my challenges coming into this world because I was born with a physical disability. I only have one complete hip joint. I lack the cup. And as a result, I returned to the hospital. First for traction, then they tried to put a plate in for the second operation, and then the third operation around 5 years of age. They end up doing a graft, a bone graft, and I was in a body cast from my ankle to my chest. Between each operation, I had to relearn how to walk. It was painful. And I was on calipers, or crutches as you call it in America. My fellow playmates could run and kick a ball, play soccer. I couldn't. I was on the sidelines. I sometimes was even called names by the bullies because I was not one of them. Life was hard. But I did not allow the harshness and the hardness to stop me from dreaming. My mother said to me that life isn't always perfect and life is never fair. And so you're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work smarter. You're going to have to choose wisely on who you surround yourself with so that you can create the opportunities to be successful. She did not pity me. She guided me. And so today, we have parents who are like helicopters over their kids, who are watching everything that they do to make things easier. And yes, sometimes we want to do things that make somebody's life easier. But let's be very selective in what lessons are we also denying them in that process. When I wanted to build my boat, there were all kinds of challenges around learning how to build a boat, designing a boat, putting equipment onto the boat. I did not have the resources just to go and hire the best people, the builders, the best equipment to install on board. So I had major barriers that I had to overcome. And through careful research, through understanding the scope of the problems, because I knew how vicious the sea can be from my experiences, I had to find people around me who could help me navigate through those challenges. And it was not easy. There were so many times I just felt I wanted to give up. But somehow I dug deep to keep going, to find a way, to get that boat into the water. And I could sit back and say, okay, I've arrived. I have my yacht. But I'd reached a plateau, just one level on this mountain of possibilities. And instead of becoming complacent, it was looking at now what next? I want to now sail my boat across an ocean to the start of a yacht race. But again, I did not have GPS. I didn't have fancy sails. I didn't have electronic autopilots. So I could focus on what I don't have and say, oh, well, I can't. But instead, I focused on the journey and says, if I can get there, imagine what I can create. And so I turned those barriers, those obstacles into opportunities. And again, each opportunity gave me strength. I had to fight out of my shell, and I became stronger. And then, when I achieved that victory, I didn't have false confidence, I had true confidence. But I also had humility. We must not forget who we are and who helps us in the journey. That humility is so important. To control the ego is so important. And again, we build one success upon the next success upon the next success. We do not become instant successes by only honing one skill. There are kids who are amazing at playing video games. There are kids who can do anything on a telephone because they spend so much time with their thumbs being able to do these things. But that does not make you an expert. It makes you good at one thing. It gives you one skill. But you've got to gain all the other skills. You've got to gain the skills of communication, being able to talk to a stranger, being able to talk to your peers, being able to talk to people who can be your mentors slash teachers. You've got to pick your head up and look around. Because if all you're doing this is all you see, you have blinders. You may have some depth of what a channel may be giving you, but you also need broadness. You need to have that entire situational awareness of the world of possibilities and how to create those things through relationships. It is so critical to have strong, true relationships with fellow human beings. And that ability to articulate your ideas, articulate the challenges, is also how you build your brain team. It's not about theory. It's about going out there and getting bloodied. I could go down this channel of only seeing one thing by living virtually. But there's nothing like being on that boat out there when something breaks and you injure yourself and you're bleeding and you've got to figure out how to put yourself back together, because if you don't survive. Or seeing that torn sail and having to take it down and hand stitch it because that's all you've got is a hand sewing machine, a hand needle. And so it is in the doing that we gain so many valuable lessons. And in the doing, we gain this confidence. And when I see those dark clouds on the sky, on the horizon, I am not afraid of those clouds. I know them as a warning mechanism to alter my behavior, to shorten my sails, not to say, hey, storm, stop. I'm not ready for you. I haven't figured out how to deal with you. Give me a chance. It doesn't care. We've got to respond. We've got to react in the most appropriate way. Go and do something. Get away from that computer. Turn me off. And go and create something, learn something, experience something, share it with somebody, build yourself your memories.